I could pull a better podcast out of my head. Hey, kids, welcome to the Tempest Universe.
China.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
It's China to me, China.
Army officers say the missile, found sometime last week, has been inspected at Roswell, New Mexico, and sent to Wright Field, Ohio, for further inspection.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside.
China.
This is the Tempest Universe, man. Hold on to your ass. You're in for a hell of a ride.
Welcome back to the Moonraker from the 2022 Edinburg UFO conference in Edinburg, Texas. And as well, we had Ronnie Dawson and Dre, the S-Guardian, as you guys know him. Sometimes you hear him, sometimes you don't. Sometimes he's just chatting away in the chat box on Spreaker.com as I go live like today. So I'm actually live about 2 hours early because we got guests in the house and I literally had to get rid of them. Had to send them all off for ice cream so that I can get this whole podcast thing going. Man, what a trip. What a trip. 3.5 hours. I think coming back we took almost 4 hours. We did hit a little bit of the traffic, if you will, on Sunday afternoon. But what a conference. The Edinburg Conference in Edinburg, Texas. It's 3 days. You got a barbecue / grab the mic and tell your story. Then you have like a real festival, you know, where people do stuff. Fun for the family, basically. It's like a family event. And then day 3, which was Saturday, was the actual conference where you had the speakers come in and whatever. And the speakers were, at least from what Ronnie Dawson, from his experience, he did speak to some of the speakers, not knowing they were the speakers or presenters for the show. The speakers were there pretty much throughout the whole time. So, you know, you got to interact with them, especially if you knew them, to be honest. I know Ronnie was telling stories to one of them, and he didn't even know who he was. But, hey, it is what it is, right? That's what conferences should be like. Now, you know, unfortunately, because I didn't do all 3 days, I'm not really sure that I got the full-on Edinburgh experience. I missed out on the open mic night, the barbecue night, which really would have been great, to be honest. It would have been probably the one thing that would clearly supplement the conference. The conference itself, you know, they got rules and shit. They got rules. No pictures, no videos. You want to shoot some B-roll? Great. Who gives a damn about B-rolls? But I gotta say, any video that was taken at that conference, from the audience standpoint, you 4.2 far fucked on that one, because it was weird. They had this bright ass screen, and the people, initially the presenters, were standing in front of the dark side of the screen, while the screen was pretty bright. So all they looked like shadow people. Damn shadow people talking and presenting to you. So it was like a paranormal event as well. And then finally somebody, and I think it was Ken Gerard, who is a cryptozoologist, he's into cryptids, he decided, let me go to the other side of the stage where there's better lighting for presenters and not stand completely in front of this big-ass, bright-ass screen. So Ken was the first one that was not a shadow person trying to abduct us. You know, and then after that, it was like, you know, okay, that's good. We're in for this. But at that point, you know, the conference was already halfway over, so the adjustment was a little too late. Lastly on the list was Christopher O'Brien. Holy smokes. So Christopher O'Brien got a little bit short on the time. When I tell you, he had one hell of a presentation. He actually is part of this group, which from what it sounds like, he kind of helped develop. It's a UFO DAP or something like that. I got to look it up because I think we had a news article about it last year that we covered on Tempest Universe, and I had no idea it had to do with Chris O'Brien. But basically, it's those cameras that they're setting up, in certain places to record activity in the sky. And these cameras have a bit of AI in them, so the AI is actually able to identify for you whether it's a plane, whether it's a bug, or it's an unknown. When it's an unknown, it sends out a message. You need to check out this footage. Fantastic. Unfortunately, like I said, he was a bit shorted on time, and I'm trying to find out a way to reach out to him. So there's a GoFundMe page for this the contraption, this camera thing, this UFO tracker thing. But I sent him a message. He hasn't responded there. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to make contact. So I really want to get Chris O'Brien on the podcast to talk about not only that, but some of the other stuff that he's been researching. His research is significant, so significant that he says at one point he spent a lot of time looking at underground bases, like Dulce, New Mexico, and he was advised by someone in the, I don't know, we could call them the dark government, to stop. Stop researching it. Stop looking into it. You're good. And so Chris is not looking into it no more. That when someone tells you to stop, and it's someone with authority, or you feel like they could cause you some fucking harm, you will stop. And so that's what happened to Chris O'Brien. Listen, we got to hear the story from the man himself. Okay, this is the thing about UFO conferences, is that I feel like I need to listen to every single presenter. Like that Mike Barra. How in the hell is this guy on cable television? How is Mike Barra presenting his conspiracies and not being challenged every other moment, every minute that he's on cable? It is the craziest thing to me. Like his whole presentation, I just wanted to jump out of my seat. I just couldn't. I felt like I just needed to behave because Mike Barra, oh my God, that's wow. That is wow. This is the guy that you really have to take a lot of things he says with a grain of salt, to be honest. And when your presentation is all about old TTSA videos, then you haven't done any lick of research yourself. You haven't done anything, Mike Barra. You look at the opposite was Chris O'Brien, who had all his own research, all kind of schematics and all kind of maps and shit that he was putting out there. I'm sorry, that's just the way it went. Everybody else was okay. Shining star, of course, was Daniel Allen Jones, who was part of the first Aurora Festival UFO conference in Aurora, Texas. Apparently, he's going to try to put the 125th anniversary of the incident from 1897. Trying to get that together this year, but there may or may not be support from the city of Aurora, Texas. So something else we need to dive into. I told him, hey, we can talk about it and see if we can get him on here. One of the episodes that I played for the podcast a few weeks ago with Big O was the interview we did with Daniel regarding the Aurora, Texas incident. So I think it'll be fantastic to have him back again to talk about that. Maybe I'll show up there, to be honest. Ken Gerhardt, he presented, the cryptozoologist guy. He also is going to be in October at a Bigfoot conference in Texas. Was it Jefferson County? I want to say it's east of Dallas. So we'll see. We'll see. We can bring back the Dark Horde podcast using Bigfoot. I mean, somebody's got to use Bigfoot for something good. Anyway, I did shoot a video, and there, like I said before, the video. If you try to shoot video in that small auditorium, you were 4.2 far fucked. You were not going to get a good video. Pictures came out okay, not too bad. So when I get together that video, I will show the pictures. And of course, we have Ronnie and Dre on there. kind of giving their take of what they thought about the conference. So we'll have a little bit of that. Bugs, the UFO hunter, is there. Mrs. Moonraker is there. So, I mean, there's some stuff on there. But what I want you to notice is how good that GoPro Hero 10 is. Jeez, that thing is magic. So magic in this little tiny box. It's amazing. So, not a whole lot of the actual conference because it was not allowed. But again, it's Edinburg, Texas. It is a border town with Mexico. And it really is a small venue, even though it had 3 days. The actual auditorium was pretty small. It was run by the city. So it wasn't like a big thing. I would say that there was a good showing for the conference. I understand that for the festival part, it was a significant showing. Again, family-friendly situation. So I'm sure everybody brought their kids to look at the alien autopsy. This is it. That's what it is like. No doubt that I'm going to try to make my way down there again next year. But this time to get the full 3-day event. Maybe 4, who knows. Maybe even challenge some people. I did send a message, which was recognized by Noe Torres, who kind of organizes the conference with the city of Edinburg. And I think Chris O'Brien needs to come back. He needs to come back next year. He needs to be the first one on the docket to present that treasure trove of non-crazy UFO everything stuff. I mean, it's overwhelming. It's overwhelming what he has. He might just need to have to cut it down so that he can make an impact. Yeah, fantastic. So we got some articles today. We also got a little bit of why there is an Edinburg UFO conference at all, to be honest. And then we'll talk about the madness. There's a lot of articles right now going around about those 1,500 pages that was released to The Sun, UK. And man, let me tell you, there's some crazy stuff in there. If I was a conspiracy theorist like Mike, like a Barra over there, I would definitely think that these 1,500 pages are fake. The shit that they're putting, that the people are saying are in this 1,500 pages that were released part of that FOIA request from the DIA. It sounds like someone made that shit up. Like they gave this to some kid who watches Marvel films and they put it all together and said, "Oh, here you go, sir." And they published this. I wanted to get my whole damn greasy ass hands on this and, kind of skim through it and try to find something to present here. I figured I'd be able to do it by today, but, that trip is just crazy. That drive is just crazy. So I didn't get to do that. So maybe by Wednesday, I will pick something out of there to go over with you guys, and just so you can see the madness that's in these 1,500 pages. But we got some examples of it for you to listen to from other people that have reviewed it. So it's not just me. It's not just me, I promise you. The other thing is that Dre mentioned that in light of, the whole Edinburg situation and the fact that we were all down there in South Texas, that we should play some Spanish music. So there you go. The first track, that's what you're going to get. Don't write me any emails or make comments or not. Send it to Dre, please. Thank you.
Vibra en la disco nunca va a bajar. La vida del party pa' mí es saquear. Es que ese party es fenomenal. Cuando tú bailas al bombo clap. La vibra en la disco nunca va a bajar. La vida del party pa' mí es saquear. Es que ese party es fenomenal. Hay bomba clap, baby bomba clap. Como ese cuerpo como si fuera candy. Es cara de flow y no tiene ni Fendi. La más buena en la familia viene mi baby Kylie. Pon tu nombre en mi silueta, llámame Andy. A los flow Toy Story. Y si me enamoro, baby, sorry. No es de PR, pero sabe que mi shorty. Los pasos prohibidos se le salen. Tiene ese flow que sobresale. Esta baby que hasta en Insta nos seguimos. Instagram estamos ahí, no quiero míos. En Netflix tiene la movie que vivimos. Me lo menea de aquí pa' allá, de aquí pa' allá, de aquí pa' allá. Prende la eco con el booty clap, nunca me falla. va a bajar. La vida del party pa' mí es saquear. Es que ese party es fenomenal. Cuando tú bailas al bombo clap, la vibra en la disco nunca va a bajar, yeah. La vida del party pa' mí es saquear. Es que ese party es fenomenal. Hay bomba clap, baby, baby, bomba clap. Me lo menea de aquí pa' allá, de aquí pa' allá, yeah. Prende la disco con el booty clap, nunca me falla. Me lo menea de aquí pa' allá, de aquí pa' allá, de aquí pa' allá, yeah. Prende la disco con el booty clap, nunca me falla.
Actually, I think that was Brazilian, to be honest. But, don't hate, participate. Here's the cool thing about, UFO conferences, especially when they're dedicated to a specific incident, unlike Roswell. And that incident, there's live people now who live and breathe the same air you do and show up at the conference. I didn't get, I was too damn late to meet this person, but actually Ronnie said that he met one of the officers that showed up at the UFO incident at Edinburg. That's fantastic. That is a live person who witnessed the after effects of a UFO attack. It was basically what went down. So this happened in 1966. Come on. Most of you, maybe half of you, were actually already out of the womb at that point, probably kicking around, smoking weed, or, sucking down somebody's beer, or trying to sneak into a bar or something. But this happened in North Edinburg, Texas. And, there's a lot of documentation. One of the persons that was pivotal in documenting the incident was Noe Torres. Noe Torres, again, is the person who kind of runs this Edinburg situation, this UFO conference, along with the city of Edinburg. And actually, he was there. He was one of the first presenters, along with UFO Jane, believe it or not. So check this out. So basically, they're here in Hidalgo County, which is part of the Rio Grande Valley. Boo! Hold on a second. Let me get Elon. Elon, what do you think about the Rio Grande Valley? Yeah, he hates them fuckers. Anyway, Edinburg is part of RGV. So listen. It's not all terrible. I get it, but the people who hate SpaceX, that's what you get. Anyway, Edinburg is apparently about 8 miles from the Moore Air Base, which in 1963 had been transferred from the Air Force over to the Department of Agriculture. What the fuck is the Department of Agriculture going to do with a whole damn Air Force base? What the hell? Even that doesn't make any damn sense, for fuck's sake. Now, according to them, the reason why they did this was because they were trying to eradicate the screwworm fly. Apparently, there was a lot of pregnancies in Edinburg. They're trying to control the population. I don't know. I don't even know what the hell a screwworm fly is. That makes no damn sense. But anyway, that's why they did it. That's the story, right? On the day of the incident, there were 8 construction workers. They were working at a gravel pit around midnight. Now, these guys all came from Dallas, Texas. It's pretty far away. It's about almost 6-hour drive from Dallas down to Edinburg. So I could imagine that must have been a good paying job. I don't know what the hell to say at that point. It's a pretty far drive. Just leave it at that. One of the men actually told sheriff deputies that when the incident happened, he was so afraid of what he witnessed that he peed his fucking pants. He peed his pants from this incident. That is crazy. Apparently, these guys saw a few UFOs, pretty bright in the night sky, by the way. One of the UFOs was a cigar-shaped object. The rumor is that these guys actually shot at the UFOs. That's the rumor. Every other article you look at, or every other story that you hear, they say that they actually shot at the UFO. I mean, fuck, it's Texas. Everybody's got a weapon. Everybody's carrying some shit. So, I mean, would these 8 guys who are working at a gravel pit, would they have shot their weapons at a bunch of UFOs? Yeah. I mean, let's be honest. If you think you're about to get probed, you will shoot at some shit in the sky. I'm not going to lie. That's the way it is. So they saw these UFOs, and they may have not shot at these UFOs. And one of them, the cigar-shaped UFO, shot a beam at them. The beam kind of did some damage, right? The beam took out pretty much the whole area they were at. Completely destroyed it. They took out a 12-foot by 60-foot mobile home that the crew was using to sleep in. That was their sleeping quarters, because again, they're far away from home. A couple of pickup trucks, a bobtail truck, and an excavating machine all got destroyed by the beam that was shot by this cigar-shaped UFO in 1966. Crazy. When Rodney was speaking to this one officer who made it to the scene after the event, apparently this individual mentioned that the pickup truck was not just on fire, it melted. It literally melted the pickup truck. That's what he saw, molten metal. That's a UFO sighting. That's some serious shit for you. Now, what happened to these guys afterwards? Nobody knows. I know for damn sure they're not going to be working in Edinburg. Shit, I wouldn't either. I wouldn't even go back there anymore. Firefighters eventually arrived to the scene of the fire, but by the time they got there, the flames had mostly died out because it was done. It was like just, they just melted everything and took off. That is just crazy. The Moore Air Force Base is pretty much inactive at this point. It is northwest of Mission, Texas, and deactivated back in February 1st of 1961 and transferred to the Department of Agriculture. So it's hard to say. These are not, they don't sound like Air Force ships, Air Force aircraft that were hanging around. And the point of the story is that place was done with U.S. Air Force activity. Shit, they were after the screw worm. That's who took it over. Department of Agriculture trying to stomp out the screw worm. I have no... I got to look it up. What the hell is a screw worm? I would imagine... initially I was like, oh, they're trying to population control the whole Edinburg area. Probably not. Probably some bug that's out of control. They had shit like that in Florida called the love bugs. Same thing. These are horny-ass bugs that are populating the area in extreme ways. So they need a whole air base to eradicate them. I don't know. That could be the issue. But this is why we have an entire conference down in Edinburg, Texas. Now, the presenters, what I like about the presenters is that a lot of them try to tailor their reporting or their presentation related to the Rio Grande Valley, RGV. Ken Gedard did a pretty good job. He talked about the Big Bird, pterodactyl sightings down in the Rio Grande Valley. That could have been the horny bird. I don't know. The get some bug. I have no idea. But he talked about a lot of stories about that. And actually, I had heard a lot of stories about these weird, gigantic pterodactyl birds flying down in the Rio Grande Valley way before I even knew about the Edinburgh situation. So it's pretty interesting. In any case, hopefully next year we will really make a show of it. And Chris O'Brien, hope you come back. Hope you get on the podcast because we want to talk to you. Mike Barra, please don't go back there. Please don't do it. It's shameful. It's shameful. And everybody else, listen, thanks for putting a great conference together. UFO Jane, Noe Torres, the rest of the guys. It was pretty good. They were shooting video. Some of those guys had those big, humongous cameras that will shoot in any kind of lighting condition. So I'm sure there's video of this somewhere. So you eventually will get to see the 2022 Edinburg UFO Festival somewhere. But let's get to 2023. And let's see if we can get the Tempest Universe a spot in some of the activities. I don't have a link for you, honestly. I said, let's look at this. I think I do have a link to the actual incident in 1966. They call it the Beam of Fire. There's a link in the description from the Above Top Secret website. So check that out. You'll get a little bit more information than what I gave you. But search the internet, especially if you live in the area. You've got to know about these UFO incidents that are 4.2 far crazy. And you can't even make this stuff up, to be honest. Check out the next song. Thanks to Dre.
Tonight I'm gonna feel alive, and no one won't be acting nice. So baby, go and start a fight. I'm in love with the city lights. Look, I'm enough of a big star. I got my girls and I got my cars. Come here, baby, be a buzz. Do whatever you want. Unlock your shop. We're about to pop. Whatever I do, not up to you. We're gonna shut it up. La la la. Let's stop, won't stop. Unlock your shop. Whatever you do, not up to you. We're gonna shut it up. Today I found out what I want. It's everything I've never had. It's been a lifetime feeling sad, feeling sorry for the things that might make you mad. But I'm back, who's back, bitch? You ain't even sorry. All you do is make people around you damn worried. I know it might sound just a little bit corny. Now I know where I stand. Don't even have a plan. Unlock your shop. We're about to pop. Whatever I do, not up to you. We're gonna shut it up. Let's stop, won't stop. Unlock your shop. Whatever you do, not up to you. We're gonna shut it up. Just like glue, you'll be someone's too. It's time for you. Just do whatever you want. Unlock your shop. We're about to pop. Whatever I do, not up to you. We're gonna shut it up. Let's stop, won't stop. Unlock your shop. Whatever you do, not up to you. We're gonna shut it up.
Why so serious?
This next article has to do with one of those three famous To The Stars Academy videos. The one that was labeled the Gimbal video. It just a little bit of insight to to Mike Barra and his presentation of conspiracy. Because he used the original To The Stars Academy videos and said, these are all fake. This is all the government starting to play with you. They're screwing with your mind. Someone in the audience actually stopped and said, raised his hand and got up. He said, yo, man, you think the Lieutenant Commander Freiberg that he is working with the government? By the way, they didn't sound that way. That's just my interpretation. But no, he didn't even answer the question. He just kept on with his conspiracy theory. You know, you don't ask the audience to ask you questions if you're not going to fucking answer them. Maybe I won't be going back to Edinburg. I don't know. Anyway, FAT pilot says he locked on a infamous UFO, thought it was a part of a training exercise when it went down. So this article is all about something that was obtained by the Black Vault, of course, Mr. Greenwald himself. In his testimony that was provided, I assume that it says here it was provided before the Senate, but I almost assume that this was also provided in front of the Unintelligent Committee. Back in back last year when they had all this, hoopla about UFOs, which what's happening now? Nobody fucking knows. The encounter happened in 2019. This is what we've been introduced to as the Gimbal video or the Gimbal UFO. And at one point, apparently this pilot said he thought that this was a simulated adversary aircraft. And this is an actual quote, as well as part of the Computex scenario that he took a blank lock to investigate further. So he's flying around in his F-18 Super Hornet, doing his thing, kind of like Lieutenant Commander Fravor did. Of course, I don't want to mention his name in this particular article. And he says, I thought this was like a fucking war game. Like we were trying to, have some issues with this pretend training exercise. But he says when he locked on it, he realized this was a physical object. This was not a war game. This wasn't something they put into his system to trick him into thinking that there was an enemy aircraft. This was a real object. There's a quote in here that says that the staffers, meaning the folks at in Congress, the Senate, staffers were interested in the amount of experience blank had, because they redacted all this stuff, and the amount of flight hours he had. They were very respectful of his opinions and thought based on his 700 plus hours of experience at the time, they would give him, an ear. They would listen to him. But they also asked about the action the Navy took following blank return to the ship to include in his deep debrief by the intelligence professionals and the actions taken by the staff, commander of the strike group, and others throughout the chain of command. So when they presented this to the Senate, they were shocked. Nobody did shit. No one gave a damn. They're like, oh, if I get UFO, great. Go ahead and get down to your skivvies. We've got to probe you and make sure you didn't get radiated. I don't know if that happened, but kind of sounds appropriate. The staffers were disappointed by the lack of action taken by the Navy. No shit. How many decades do you need that to happen before you realize it? They also wondered what happened to the video evidence of the encounter. This is why Luis Elizondo stole shit from these people. Because an incident happens, they send their people in, they take all the video evidence, and then they disappear. So here we have the Senate, probably also the Unintelligent Committee, and they're wondering who took the videos. You apparently don't follow UFO stories because you should know. The MIB took the damn videos, This is why Will Smith is smacking people. Because he doesn't get redneckanized. I'm telling you. It's a true story. I promise you. The staffers also asked if blank was forced to take a drug test following the incident or was harassed. That's the faith that the Unintelligent Committee puts in the armed forces of the United States of America, that you take a drug test. Were you on the hashish? Were you sniffing lines of white powdery stuff before you saw this UFO? I mean, they're valid questions, right? I mean, you just never know. But this is what they came back with. Unfortunately, the pilot's answers to the questions are not contained in the document that the Black Vault received. So, partly for his protection, we don't know what he said. So it wasn't contained in the documents that the Black Vault got from this particular interview that he had with the Senate. It is what it is, right? Like, how many interviews you got to give before you believe in the shit? How many people's names you need to throw into the fray before you realize something is going on? How many farmers, cops, how many EMT workers, construction workers, mums and daddies have to tell you that there's some unidentified shit in the sky that's making contact with them, and you do nothing? You just sit there taking in your pay. Actually, funny thing is that in the last bill that they approved in Congress, that the entire Congress gave themselves a paycheck hike, significant, like I'm talking double digits. But included in that was the help for Ukraine. So, I mean, what the hell? This is the same shit that happens with ufology. Same thing. I mean, we need to have a UFO force, task force to investigate and put together in one central location all the reportings. Plus, we get 13% increase on our yearly pay. It's like you fucked if you do and you fucked if you don't. You got to give them the damn increase so you can figure out what the hell is going on in reports that you'll never see. This is the madness of, ufology, dealing with the government. That's why people want to keep this at something that's known as a grassroots movement. And that's why I kind of gravitated to Chris O'Brien, because that's grassroots, man. That's grassroots. There's more to this article in the description. Check it out. Don't go slapping people just because they say a joke. I'm telling you. Keep it clean, folks. Keep it clean. Okay, I hit play, but nothing happened.
don't fucking scream at me.
Where's
you
the
dumb
money?
fuck you. Look at you with your fucking 48% body fat and...
I'm out of vodka. Time to stop the podcast. Mum left stunned after spotting two flaming UFOs zooming through the sky. Flaming. There's some words you just can't use anymore in UFO reporting. Flaming is one of them. Come on, let's be PC. Say like on fire or rocketry. Say like it have flames shooting out of it. But don't say flaming. That's not cool. This woman, who is 62 years old, she spotted these mysterious objects over her home. Wow. In Cyneth Quay, North Wales, at approximately 6 p.m., March the 16th of this year. I mean, she's not playing. She believes, she actually whipped out her cell phone, to be honest. It might not be the best cell phone, but if you look at the image for this particular episode, that is an image from her video. She took a 30-second clip of these alleged evidence of extraterrestrial visitors. I never get why. I'm gonna just throw this out there. Let me digress for a second. Why the fuck do you think that lights dancing in the sky are UFOs? One of the first UFO sightings that I looked at back when I started UFO Buster Radio, it was out of Japan. And literally, they discussed how these orbs were like dancing the dance light of joy over the skies of Japan. And it's like, how the fuck is that an alien? What is wrong with the alien? How could you be in a ship and do dances of joy? It makes no sense. Now, the cool thing about this 62-year-old lady, Lynn Murphy, out of North Wales up there, is that she also was a paranormal investigator, and she did investigate UFOs and alien abductions. There's a quote in here that says, "I was in my room and it was quite a clear day." She goes on to say that for some reason she picked up an energy and she could just feel something. Something was calling her to go outside and take this video. I don't know. I just, anyway, let me continue. I looked at the window just to see that if there was anything that was causing this energy. Over towards the Irish Sea, near where I live, I could see two really unusual objects. I don't know how far apart they were. They were long and white. Both of the objects were they 17? Anyway, both of the objects were, she says, close to where I live. I could see the two really unusual objects. I don't know how far apart they were. They were long and white. Both of the objects were flying upwards with tails on them. I don't know if it was vapor, but whatever it was, it kind of looked like a fishtail. Here's the thing. There is like an airplane stunt group or whatever that usually gets identified as UFO sightings because they release these flames out of their planes as part of a stunt show that they do. And I swear to you, every year someone identifies them as a UFO because it is, when you look at the images, it's like, what the hell could be flying with all that fire behind them? But we got to see. Maybe this will be debunked shortly after this article came out. She said she went to get her phone at the time, and when she got back, she saw one of them going through a cloud. At that point, she got a better view of the second one. That too shot up into the sky. Since then, she says, I have found two other people in the area that has seen the UFO incident that she's referring to. She said, I don't know what it was. I definitely No, it was not a plane, and something I have never seen before. It is extremely unusual. She says it looked like rockets, but why would there be rockets in the Irish Sea? It could be a UFO. There is a history of these types of sightings in North Wales, and we've seen lots of unusual things out here over the years. Listen, at least she had the presence of mind to get her, her deal out, to get her cell phone out and record a 30-second video. If you want to see that video, look at the link in the description. And what do you think? What do you think? I feel like this is going to be debunked because of those stunt airplanes that I'm telling you, like every other year, they end up being a UFO sighting. And let me tell you, the videos of these guys is fantastic. It is amazing. This could be them. And I'm sure they take pride of scaring the shit out of people about them getting a probe from their UFO sightings. But no lie, it is crazy. The link is in the description. Check out the video. There's a link to the lady's video, as well as still images like the one that's in the podcast episode right now. Check it out. See what it is to you. You look at it. I don't know what kind of camera she had. Again, even today in 2022, it is very difficult to catch a really good image of what you may think is a UFO. This particular situation, she has images, she has videos. I don't know. You're going to have to make the call on this. Do I feel like it's a real UFO? Shit, either they're melting your damn truck, they're abducting you from a mountainside in Arizona. I don't know what the hell is the aim of these UFOs anymore, but eventually we'll figure this out. Last news article coming up, and the last song too. Check this out.
Didn't mean those things, I'm sorry. Doesn't matter anyway. We've been here one time too many. Wonder what will happen next. We both know that this ship's going down. Let's get off and leave before we drown. There's nothing left for us to say, 'cause we're see-through. There's nothing left for us to say, 'cause we're see-through. 'Cause we're see-through. We promised that nothing would break us, that we'd always find a way. When all was said and dust had settled, something didn't feel the same. We both know that this ship's going down. Let's get off and leave before we drown. There's nothing left for us to say, 'cause we're see-through. Let's save ourselves the courtesies, 'cause we're see-through. We both know how this thing goes. Should I leave or should you? There's nothing left for us to say, 'cause we're see-through.
All men and women created by go. You know the thing.
Time travel anti-gravity tech is possible and could be used to find Earth-like planets, secret UFO files reveal. No, that shit's not secret anymore. This is in reference to the 1,500 pages it was released to the UK Sun as part of a FOIA request. We talked about this last week. The UK Sun, who in the fuck is just going to give it to the UK Sun? That's a problem in and of itself, right? You have the UK Sun, who's probably some crazy shit in the past, and even currently. But then you got to give them 1,500 pages of actual government documents, which are going to include things like anti-gravity tech. And there's more stuff. There is so much stuff in those 1,500 pages. It's crazy. It is nuts. Anti-gravity technology. These 1,500 pages actually look at making planes and spacecraft that it basically effects can be implemented by manipulating space and time. This reads like something like someone made up just for just for fuck's sake, just to get it out there. According to these documents, they were looking at the time of different ways of controlling gravity, and quote unquote, it might be possible to produce exotic phenomena such as faster than light travel and time machines. Is this really what ATIP was looking at? It is really ATIP documents that were recently released to the UK Sun from the US government. Like, I'm telling you, the guy that redacted all this shit, he's fucked. The guy who redacted this is getting his ass beat right now. He's probably being waterboarded as far as what else information he released to the public, because this is crazy. Even if you redact all this stuff, the fact that this is coming from a government source, it should be enough to turn people, turn people towards the topic instead of away, thinking that things are too much in the fringe of science. Another file, according to this, talks about the future aerospace. Platforms may have propulsion systems that modify their surrounding space-time geometry to implement faster than light travel and produce levitation via anti-gravity. This is what the DIA and their documents provided to folks that received the UK document that the Sun received from the FOIA request. These are the crazy things. Things included in that document had to do with colonizing deep space, with studies into how humans can operate robots with their minds, a la, good old Elon Musk and his mind-controlling situation. This is completely crazy. To me, I really can't believe that this was being released to someone in the UK Sun, because it's tarnished at this point. Did the UK Sun really actually get this released to them, or did they use some people to make this stuff up? I don't understand. It is crazy on so many levels. Another part of the report is talking about using kind of traditional human pilots instead of cyborg pilots, because you need the human aspect in order to control several different vehicles at a time when you're sending them into a deep space situation to find places to colonize. The conclusion to some of the things that are being reported by folks in general who looked at these documents is that the major advance to come in developing augmented human capability to pilot multiple spacecraft will be in understanding the cognitive organization of multitasking. A lot of this stuff is not far-fetched, right? Because, these are reports that were back during the ATIP days. But at the moment, we have Elon Musk, who is creating something similar to what's being, disclosed within these documents. So if Elon Musk in a commercial situation is right now trying to figure out how to use the human brain to manipulate objects and get them that internet connection directly into your, core brain functions, your cognitive functions, It's funny that ATIP in these documents were already observing these type of situations way back when. It's no different than when we look through history and we read documents of people doing remote viewing for the government. It's the same thing. The same documents that no one really believes that the government would actually be interested in the paranormal, interested in interdimensional communication, or being interested in people seeing things remotely. But the documents are out there. And now we have this 1,500 pages of complete madness that if it wasn't for the UK Sun receiving this, we'd be shocked and amazed. The fact that they got it, I think it kind of, it taints the whole situation. It makes it almost impossible to believe. But for the next episode on Wednesday, I'm going to look at these 1,500. I'm going to pull something out. And we're going to talk about it. We're going to present it on here on the podcast and see what exactly is it that these pages represent. It's a lot of pages. It's a lot of information. And if it really is something that came from the DIA, then it's time to wake up. It's time for all those people who believe in their everyday lives to know that there is a lot more out there. And the government is literally controlling all of it. And they're not letting you know. And I bet you they're shooting their ass, shooting themselves in the foot, kicking themselves in the ass, because they've let someone to basically do a bad redaction on these documents and release them as part of this program. Completely nuts. That's the end of the podcast today. I thank you guys for listening. Don't forget to go to YouTube this weekend so you can see what happened at the conference. I'm about to cough, so I gotta let you guys go. Ciao.
I don't give a damn. I don't really care about you and your problems. I don't give a damn. You talk way too much. I have heard enough about you and your problems. I don't give a damn. 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 You wanna be with me. You wanna feel something real, but I'm feeling differently. You're making plans to get to friends, but don't wanna face the fact that I ain't got time, I ain't got time, I ain't got time for that. Staying up late, sleeping all day, dreaming about Cadillacs. Buying new shoes, hanging by the pool, sipping on Coke and Jack. Calling my phone when you feel alone, but I'll never call you back. 'Cause I ain't got time, I ain't got time, I ain't got time for that. I don't give a damn, I don't really care about you and your problems. I don't give a damn. You talk way too much. I have heard enough about you and your problems. I don't give a damn. 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 You're mad at me for not giving you comfort. You say that I'm away so much and now you don't feel the way you felt when we were younger. But that's okay for me, 'cause I don't give a damn. I don't really care about you and your problems. I don't give a damn. You talk way too much. I have heard enough about you and your problems. I don't give a damn. 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 I don't
Today is the beginning of the end and the start of a new beginning. Time has come to refine yourself and let go of the demons in your head that have held you in captivity for so long. It's time to flip the page and prove them wrong. It's time for rebirth. Yeah, time's up to say goodbye to all the haters, doubters, and non-believers trying to bring you down. In the blink of an eye, you'll realize that there's so much more to the book than the page you were stuck on. Finally, you will be free to live a life you love living instead of the life you think other people want you to live. Remember, you're the highest authority when it comes to knowing what you want and what you love. So stop trading yourself for the approval from others. Ladies and gentlemen, weirdos and geeks, please repeat after me. I don't give a fuck. Time to start